Andy.
Hey, it's Andy Cohen. Join me on Andy Cohen Live, where it's just you, me, and some of the world's biggest celebrities. Paris Hilton, Chelsea Handler, Seth Rogen. I love you, Miley. Thank you so much.
You can listen to Andy Cohen Live at home or anywhere you are. No car required. Download the SiriusXM app for over 425 channels of ad-free music, sports, entertainment, and more. Subscribe now and get 3 months free. Offer details apply.
Hi guys, welcome to this week's episode of Heavy Metal Tone, to me, your podcast host Tony Evans. This is a bit of a treat this next few weeks. This week's episode is an interview I did in August last year in 2022 for one of my heroes, with my heroes, Tony Martin of Black Sabbath, for Metal Roos, the online music magazine, and Black Roos, who are his agents in Australia. Brilliant guys, wonderful. If you're looking for any kind of music, any heavy metal music, and want to buy obscure CDs, they're the place to do it. Any information that's coming into the scene, very much so. They are very, very, very strongly behind Australian underground scene. And so if your first place should be, when you think about heavy metal in Australia, if it's not me, it's Metal Roos. That's metalroos.com. You can find it easily, put into your Googles, and you will search and you will find it. And all these wonderful, wonderful reviews, interviews. I've done loads of reviews on it. Some great people working on that magazine. And I'm going to have Michael on the show, interviewing him about it in a few weeks' time anyway. So this will be a nice sort of lead into that. Anyway, enjoy, guys. Oh, just a little side note, the audio is terrible on my part. I recorded it, plugged the headphones in, and thought that I was using the mic through the laptop and through my wired mic, but no, I wasn't. It was the headphone mics, and when I was using Zoom, all the audio sounded good in my ears, so I didn't know that the sound was me like talking through a paper bag in another room. I do apologise. You can still hear what I say. It's just not very professional. I'm a bit annoyed because he's life hero of mine. But anyway, I did it again when I interviewed Tony Doolan as well. So definition of madness, doing the same thing twice, didn't I? But anyway, I did it. I'm not going to do it again. I'm not going to use those headphones ever again. Anyway, enough said. Enjoy the interview.
It's recording now, according to me.
Yeah. There you
so
go.
How are you?
Not too bad, mate. Same as everybody, I guess. This whole COVID thing sort of threw everybody for a bit.
Yeah, and it still is, isn't it? I had it like week before last. Nasty.
Have you?
Really not. Yeah, you don't want to get it, honestly. When people say it's cold, that they don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah. We've got a vulnerable family, so it's important to us anyway to do what we can. So we're still doing the whole wear the mask thing, and we've had all the jabs, and locked all the doors.
It's all you can do. My dad's 90, and he didn't leave the house for 2 years. He's in North London, and honestly, and he's quite a religious man. He'd go to church every Sunday. He didn't go, and it's just like, well. Even now he can go out, he doesn't want to go out.
No, my mom's 90 as well, so they're particularly vulnerable to it. So we are being careful. That's important to us, but I know other people do it like other ways. But we're doing that.
Yeah, I mean, we're lucky here in Australia that it hasn't been that bad.
Yeah,
long lockdowns in Melbourne, but very few fatalities, and that's all we can ask for, isn't it, really, at the end of the day?
I think the problem that the UK's got is that we're a hub, from where people travel through
Oh God, yes, absolutely. Yeah.
London through Manchester, Birmingham. Australia's not quite a hub where people travel.
No.
You either go there or you go somewhere else. So we got like everybody coming from every direction at us, and it just carries, doesn't it? So
yeah,
well, that.
It does. I was the first to think it'd be over in a month, but there you go.
Oh yeah. Apart from that, musically, I'm good. I mean, I'm loving this new album, Thorns.
Oh man, honestly. Yeah.
Well,
sorry, talk about COVID.
To be honest, I mean, I've lived in the studio for the past 25 years. I'm still here.
Yeah.
I haven't really been out, so it hasn't affected me too much in that way.
Yeah. It hasn't affected your voice.
No. Well, no. Apart from my age, this is actually real. This colour, I haven't dyed it that colour.
I'm waiting for mine to go that way because then I could just say all white. I'm happy with just all white. I'm just a bit
right.
irritates me.
You're still looking good though, man.
Thank you.
So yeah, basically. So hit me.
I first saw you. I was just going to say, guys. I first saw you. So Tony, this is important to me because you changed my musical landscape quite dramatically. So, and I mean that. I truly mean it. I'm from a big family, lots of brothers, all with different musical tastes, much older than me. So jazz, punk, blues, heavy rock, heavy metal. My brother, in fact, spent a lot of time at the Neil Kay's disco, in Kingsbury, because I'm from that part of North London.
Okay.
I bought Headless Cross in '89 when it came out, and I played it to death. Absolutely played it to death. And I was at the Hammersmith Odeon buying tickets to go and see Marillion because I'm a big Marillion fan. All right, and I literally had £15 in my pocket. I bought a ticket for them. I turned around and then a big poster on the wall said Black Sabbath Headless Cross Tour. And I was like, well, I only have £7 left. I'll buy whatever ticket I can get for that. So penniless. Went home. Dad had an absolute nut at me for spending all my money on music. Saw you that night with Brian May on. He came on to do the...
right. Yeah.
89, September 10th, and it changed my life completely. Absolutely. I was always going that sort of proggy, heavy, rocky sound.
Right,
then,
yeah. Strangely, the same thing happened to me on the same day.
I cannot believe it. If you told my 16-year-old me I'd be interviewing you, I'd be like, nah, go. What are you talking about? You go to the different room.
I felt the same thing with joining the band. It was like, because I saw Black Sabbath. I didn't even like Sabbath when I was a kid. Took my first girlfriend to see the original Black Sabbath in Birmingham at the was it New Street Odeon or something they were on at, and I thought they were
amazing.
And I never thought then that I'd be in the band. So it is strange how these things happen, And
I still say this. I say this to lots of my friends. I think you are for me, outside of Ozzy, it's Ozzy and you for me. I know that's a big sacrilegious thing to say about Dio, but it's you and Ozzy for me. And because of your tonal range, your voice, the power in your vocals. I don't know how you do it. I mean, I've got a question here. It's like, it's been...
No, I don't know how I do it either.
Because I put Thorns on, like, regularly, and I was blown away that the vocal, and it sounds... I thought I'd just got on TYR, Tear or Headless Cross I just like... I don't. So how do you keep your vocals so fresh? But you've lost anything.
Well, I'll tell you something now. I'm actually 5 notes down from where I was with Sabbath. Age stops me from reaching those high notes anymore. So I used to be I used to be G over top E, and now I'm D just under top E. So I've lost 5 notes off the top end of my range. But what I've done is I've just used what I've got left. And if your voice is still working, don't worry about the high notes. I mean, choose a different note, you know. And so all I've done is taken advantage of the voice I've still got, and the actual power bit and the rest of it like still fits in. So for me, words are important. The vocal, the melody, and the lyrics really have to work together. So, you know, certain words don't work with certain notes, you know, that I found. For me, anyway, because of the way my voice works, and no end of screaming brings it into line. So I have to find the notes that work, find the words that work, and it takes time, but I can still usually find a way through. The other thing is, for me, the music has to come first. It always has done. I've never been a poet. I can't sit and write poetry, for example.
Yeah, I must admit, it's a difficult thing, isn't it?
So I wait until the music is in place, which I usually have a hand in constructing. I mean, this new guitarist, Scott, was really great to work with because he allowed me to cut it up and put verse here or a chorus there or whatever. He's, yeah, man, whatever. So I'm going, okay.
Great.
You have no idea what you've just agreed to. So he allowed me to sort of do that with the songs. In fairness, the riffs were really good in the first place, but having it in the right order for me is another thing for the vocals that helps me to get to the place I want to go. So if I'm building up to something, I need to have something in sight where I'm aiming at. And so it's a combination really of making do with the voice you've got, choosing your words, choosing the notes, and having an aim within that, you know, confined sort of space. So it has changed. My voice is not the same. I mean, if you asked me to sing Devil and Daughter now, I'd bottle it. Or get somebody else to sing it.
Yeah, I tell you what, interesting, because I saw Jethro Tull, it must be about 5 years ago now, and Ian Anderson's voice, he clearly cannot use those notes, but he had a separate vocalist to sing those lines for him. Okay. Come on stage and separate, which was interesting. It was weird for me, to be honest, but it was really interesting. Yeah.
It's one way of doing it. The thing is, I found that the crowd is already singing the melody line. So you could harmonize with them. Just choose a harmony and sing with them. So you can sing on a separate note. They're singing the main note. So all in all, you know, it sort of comes across in the right way. The thing is, I've always had to use some kind of paraphernalia to get the job done. Like, for example, with Tear, I'd layered 50 voices over some of it, you know, to get the harmonies. And although it sounds quite unison, there's a lot of voices going on there, harmonies.
A lot of work going on, yeah.
Sabbath never done before. So, like Cozy Pal said, how the fuck are we going to sing that lot on stage? And he says, because I can't sing it. And I'm going, it's a good point, actually. Then so Jeff Nichols came up with this idea and said, well, I've got a sampler. We could load all the voices, you know, all the background voices and everything into that, and I'll just trigger them. So then we got like this sampler fired up, but the problem with samplers is it's fixed in time. So if the song is speeded up, it wouldn't be in time when you hit the trigger. You know, the track would be racing away, or, you know, slowing down with the sampler is playing. So Cozy Pal had a little, not many people know this actually, he had a metronome, like it was almost a mechanical thing, but it did have an electronic output on it, which was just a headphone socket basically. And he had one of the roadies rigged up a really bright LED that he plugged into the earphone socket, and that was enough to light up this thing, whichever setting he'd set it at, and he placed it just under his hi-hats, just so that he could catch the timing of it, so that when the triggers were fired off, he'd be in time with the sample, you know.
Oh my God.
It was all very mechanical and very Heath Robinson, you know, in those days. But
I have to say that,
got through it. And so, I've always had to do something like that. And so the other option for me, because we use computers, is to run, backing vocals and stuff like that. You can do it that way as well. Or you can have players on stage singing along with it. There's lots of different options to get through it.
Yeah.
As long as you don't expect me to do it.
Yeah, is it because you are a multi-instrumentalist, right? So you play bass and violin and all this sort of stuff. Is it because that's where your base is? Because you're very musical? I'm not saying that singers aren't musical, but you have the understanding more about the musical background, the backside of the end of the process.
It's an important thing. Like what you've just mentioned is quite true. I mean, I because I play those instruments, if ever there was a problem on stage, I already had an understanding what it was and how they had to fix it and how long it was likely to take. So if like they needed to change a snare skin, or if they needed to change a guitar string, or, swap guitars and plug cables in and stuff like that, I'd know roughly how long I'd got before they were back on stage, doing the thing. So there is an element of that in it. It's not everything, because all sorts of things can still go wrong, but it's one of the things you can sort of get used to when you're playing live that often.
Yeah.
I mean, the last tour I did with Sabbath was 9 months long, and firstly, by the end of that, you're pissed off with everybody. Don't
Yeah.
But also got a really good grounding of what that whole thing is. You know what I mean? So
yeah. It's amazing. I just you have such a background. So going on to the new Thorns CD, which is amazing. Yeah. I actually would like to get it on vinyl eventually. Is it available on vinyl yet? I don't know if it is.
Well, there was and no. There is a thing going on with this, because when they said, we'll release a vinyl, you've got to take some of the tracks off, and I went, what? They said, you've got to take some of the tracks off. There's too many tracks. There's only a certain amount of time you can fit onto a vinyl. I forgot about that. Shit, yes, of course. There's only so many grooves. The grooves, you can make them sort of shallower and like a bit closer together. But you
lose the sound. Yeah.
So I said, oh, no, I don't want to take any tracks off. And they said, okay, there's only one other way of doing it. That's if you write some more tracks, and we'll do a double vinyl album. Oh, okay. So that's what we're doing at the moment. There's another 4 or 5 tracks being added.
Oh, brilliant.
We will make a double vinyl later in the year.
Yeah, that's Christmas present for me. Now, so I'm really blown away by the lineup you have on this album. You've got Needham from Venom on drums. You've got, as I said before, you have Scott, the new guitarist. I was sort of really impressed. I read somewhere, and I don't know if it's true or if it's apocryphal, that he recorded it all in one take. Is that right?
Pretty much. I got him over to England just before COVID, and he played them pretty much in one go with very little, overdubs or corrections. I mean, you have to, going back again, this album's been assembled for quite some years now. So we were already familiar with the song. So if he'd have forgotten the fuckers, I'd have been, but you don't know them by now, sort of thing. So fair enough. I'm not surprised that he did it in one go, but he did pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, it doesn't sound that way. I mean, like you said, you've done your magic fury stuff with the tracks, but the thing I noticed after going back to it again, so I've listened to it ad nauseum, to be honest with you, was the sort of amazing difference in each of the songs. So it's not just, when you put on, we've all done it, you put on a heavy metal record or a heavy rock record and it's just to the end and I'm done, thank you very much. This had, I've made notes, I mean, it's had swing, it's got bluesy notes, it's got heavy, I mean, the bass, some of the bass parts are just phenomenal. I know that it's Magnus, is it Magnuson on bass?
Yeah, Magnus, Roseanne, yeah.
And yourself, I think you put some bass parts on it. It's it really is. It's a delicious mixture of musical
stuff,
sort of directions.
Yeah.
Did you find it hard? Did you find it hard to get that? Like you said, you were recording more, but did you find it hard to whittle down others you might have had? Like, was it a tough one to get onto the CD, the full lineup?
Well, there's a number of things in that question. Firstly, the various styles and stuff like that. That's what it's like inside my head. If you could crawl inside my head, you'd go, "Wow, what the fuck is this like in here?" It's just massive, like different instruments, different sounds, different genres. That's a result of 1971. Everything happened to me in 1971. The world exploded. I mean, I was listening to everything from reggae to rock, from Bob Marley to fucking,
I love Marley. Yeah.
Led Zeppelin, and it was just like, I love it all. I love it all. Just bring it on. I was absorbing all this stuff. So I that's how I sort of grew up, really listening to everything. And that's why this album sort of goes that way. The truth of this album is that I'd already started doing an unplugged gothic type thing before, and that's where Book of Shadows Crying Wolf comes from, because I'd already started going in that direction, or doing its unplugged acoustic thing, but still kind of heavy and gothic-y with all the choirs and stuff. And then Scott sort of happened on the scene. So it once I'd interviewed, well, I didn't even interview. I think he sort of interviewed me in a way. I met him on Facebook, and he started sending me this stuff, and I just couldn't believe he kept sending me. And in the end, I had to say, "Well, who is this dude?" And I thought, okay, I better contact him and find out what he wants. So I said, "Do you want me to sing on this stuff or what?" He said, "Yeah, man, whatever." So like I'm going, okay, look, let's try one. And I really didn't think, we were going to make too much of it. And so I did, it was As the World Burns. And I finished it and went, fuck, that's really good. Oh, no.
Yeah.
So I got in touch with him and I played it to him. He said, "Well, brother, that's really good." I said, "Thank you." I said, "You know what?" I said, "I'll try another one." So I tried another one and that went okay. And then I tried another one. I said, "Okay, do you know what? We could make something of this." So I'm coming back to your question. I said, I'm doing a solo album. Do you want to be part of that? "Oh, yeah, brother." Okay. So how are we going to do this now? And I was thinking about the combination of styles and stuff like that. And I thought, this stuff really works. I mean, I can see it working on an album, all of these different styles and things. I played violin on one of them and did all sorts of stuff. And I played it eventually to the labels, but at this point, nobody'd heard it. So I just kept going until we'd got enough tracks. We'd got more than enough tracks. I mean, last week he sent me 49 new guitar ideas. So it's just amazing amount of stuff. The only other person I know who writes like that is Tony Iommi. Anyway, I said, okay, look, we've got like a few tracks here now. Let me just get my head around this and put them together and do all this stuff. So I did. Then I got in touch with the record labels and they were like, "Whoa, that's really cool." So that's the reason why all of the mixed up stuff is in there. It comes from when I started listening to music seriously, 1971, with all this jumbled up stuff, through then meeting somebody who gave me a different inspiration to what I was already doing, and then for me eventually to get my head round it, to put it all on one album, it came as a story for the album to me. So that's the reason why it sounds like it does.
Yeah, I think it's got an amazing mix. I mean, I originally listened to it, and not knowing that you'd taken years to write the songs, I thought, oh, this is a pandemic-inspired album because it's quite dark. It has some really brooding and introspective imagery, and I thought, oh, it's clearly you must have written this in your lockdown, but clearly you didn't. You've been writing that up to that point. But did any of the COVID thing inspire on that the songs on the album?
No. I mean, there was a couple of moments, especially in the Daft one, Damnation. This is your damnation, where why COVID, why AIDS, that that was the only one I sort of felt like including it. But it just shows you that we were still adjusting and rewriting stuff right up until the last minute. So, COVID is included in This Is Your Damnation, for example, in the lyrics. Whereas, I mean, a lot of it's still old school, God and the devil stuff. It's where my voice works. It's where my lyrics work,
You know what, though? But let's be honest. At the heart of all good rock and roll is the devil, right? So it works.
It did work. It's worked for me, and bands have been using that subject for, decades. Really, the whole good evil thing still works if you can find the right storyline for it. It's no good just writing about God or the devil, or say. But if you can get a story into it, then you can make it work. And I am a collector of words, so I like messing about with lyrical stuff. And aren't we lucky to have like English as our main language? Because you can manipulate the lines, the words to mean the same word could mean a couple of things. You can flip it and you can rhyme. I love the fact that things rhyme. It's not quite so easy. The language is to make things rhyme. It's possible, but so we have that sort of good fortune as well.
Yeah, because I generally think that when I pick an album up, when I put it on to listen to, because of my sort of background, I love a lot of prog and stuff. I like a nice wordy song, I have to say, or something that get your teeth into. I love big passages of instrumental, and you get that on this. That's what's good about it. You get it all on this. It's sort of everything on this. It comes. I like the child, the talking, the voice acting on it. It's got such drama.
That's
brilliant.
my daughter.
Is it really? Oh, fantastic, fantastic. What was it like working with Pamela?
Well, we've never actually met. This is where, again, later in the album, where we were still assembling it and writing bits and pieces for it, that the COVID thing came into effect, where she recorded her voice over in America. So, but we've known each other on the internet over Facebook for some years, and in fact, we have this thing. She's got exactly the same birthday as me. So every time April the 19th comes around, it's like, hey, brother, hi, sis, how you doing? Like this. And we sort of beat each other up about this, like having the same mother or father or whatever. And, it's so we have this thing going on. Anyway, she came to mind when one of the record labels mentioned it, because I needed a girl singer for that particular song, Thorns. The story, it needed a woman, to portray those particular lyrics. Well, I wanted a girl, because I tried it, but I couldn't get it to work the same way with my own voice. So I mentioned that to the record label, and the dude said, well, have you thought about Pamela? I went, of course, Pamela fucking no, why not? So I sort of got in touch with her, and I said, would you like to be up? And she just went, yes. She didn't even get a chance to finish. Yes. Right, okay. Well, I'll tell you what, then I'll send you over the track and some of the ideas that I've got for it and see what you think. And so she said, I love it. Okay, I'll have a go. And she did that over there. So we never actually met.
Because that was I think the surprise track on the album for me. It's very hard to sing. The lyrical concept of it is not an easy song to write about. But also B, that I'd never heard of her before, and the voice was it sat with you so perfectly, like the album, She asked me like how she should approach it, and I said, well, all I can do is sort of speak from my perspective, and I would do something like this. I mean, the lyrics are already written for her, so she sort of just put her tonal qualities over the top of it, and used the ideas that I sent her. But she did a good job of it anyway. It's just great to have her on it. Love that. Well done, Pamela. So it really worked, and because I'd sort of directed it through the melody that
I was singing and the lyrics that I'd got for it, it fit perfectly. It was just a good way of doing it, really.
Yeah. I mean, as I said, I'd never heard her voice before, and so it was really nice to put it on and get that a different, as I said before, different swings and modes of the album.
Yeah.
And to finish that, it really was it's a really good bookend.
I think this comes back to what you were saying earlier on about being the different styles and how they all the mishmash of all the different things. This is Your Damnation, the daft one. You really need a video to understand that, but that sets up Thorns perfectly. It just comes like, what the hell was that? And then Thorns comes on. It's just like and I'd like to take credit for that, but it was an accident. That whole track order thing. You notice it's all in alphabetical order, right?
Yes.
So that was a complete accident where Thorns came after This Is Your Damnation. So just by accident, it sat right there, and I went, oh man, I couldn't have done that better myself. In the old days, there used to be somebody at the record label whose job it was to put the tracks in order, to have the track list and stuff like that. Well, doesn't tend to happen much. They do, but this was just brilliant the way this turned out, and having Thorns right at the end and the title track after that daft track just worked.
It's funny you say it, because I spent my youth, some of my youth, record player, tape deck, and I changed the lineup. I changed the because I go, oh no, that can't go there, and I'd play it and pause it and move.
Yeah, right.
Not many albums, but there are a couple I go, no, that should go there. It's better there.
That's fantastic.
I remember seeing Priest. I saw Priest about 15 years ago, and I'd been listening to this Priest mixtape that I'd made myself. And I'm not lying, track for track, that gig, it was my mixtape. How it happened, I have no idea. I'm going,
that's cool.
No, this is definitely my mixtape.
That's cool, because, it shows you what, people, when you think about it, there is a natural flow for certain things to happen. And this is what I like about the old albums in the old days, and I'm old enough to remember, albums used to have like a story, and you used to come across tracks that you didn't like. Well, in those days, there was only one way of skipping the track. That was to get off your ass, go and pick the needle up, move it down somewhere else. That was skip control. So you either did that, or you went, oh, fucking hell, it's that track again, and let it play through it until you got past the other side of it. And then you'd find yourself kind of like, well, actually, that track's not that bad after all, sort of thing. So you sort of get used and you familiarize yourself with it. This album is much like that of, it's an album. It's an album of songs, it's like a collection of things, not just like you said earlier, start on one thing and then end up in the same thing at the other end. And I like that in an album. It appeals to me.
I think that comes across because you are musical. And it's a silly question you were thinking, but you do have music in your soul, like instrumental, you play instruments. It's because you have that. I think you look at the finished product in a much more holistic way.
It's true.
Question for you. Battle Gods Productions, which this is on. How did you come across that label?
Bit of a sad story, really. Do you know Tony Mills, the singer? Was with TNT and Shy and some Swedish, Norwegian bands. Anyway, he's been a friend for many years, and unfortunately he died a few years ago. Well, he organised a living wake, which is what somebody does. They gather all their friends before they die. And they get everybody together and to sort of say goodbye, which is the weirdest thing. I don't know if you've ever been to one, but it's just like everybody doesn't want to mention the D word. Nobody wants, because he had cancer. Nobody wanted to mention the C word. And so we're all skipping around conversations like, he was quite normal and there was nothing sort of wrong, but there obviously was. And he sort of said, look, everybody said, I know where I'm going. He said, I've got you here because I love every one of you fuckers. He said, I want you here because you're all my friends and I love you anyway. During that evening, he took me to one side and sat me down, and he said, I just want to ask you something. There's this record label that I've been on, Battle God. He said they've just done the last, I think he said 3 or 4 albums that he'd done. He said, would you do me a favour and give them a try? He said, they're not like the most technical company in the world, said, but they work like fuck. They really are hard workers, and they really have a passion for what they're doing. And I said, okay, I'll have a look. You see, me, I don't mind giving people a go at stuff. I'm happy to give people a try, just on merit or whatever. So I sort of went for that one, but also I'd been talking already to Scott's friends, who was Dark Star label in America. Well, both of them seemed quite plausible to me. Not that they're not, but they seemed quite plausible to me. And I sort of came across this idea, which we did in Black Sabbath once or twice, where we had 2 labels working around the world. Like in Sabbath, they had IRS and EMI were working in tandem for different territories and stuff like that. And it really worked. So I thought, wow, this could be cool, because then you get like each label concentrating on their own territory. That might sort of ease the spread of things and sort of it would make it more interesting anyway. So I said, okay, went to Battle Garden and said, look, these guys are interested and you're interested. I said, do you fancy hooking up with them or something and providing a license or something? I don't know how it works with record labels. You have to do the record label-y stuff. And they sort of said, yeah, we're pretty sure we can do this. So I said, okay, well, let's get a multi-label thing going. So Battle God do the rest of the world. The Dark Star label does the Americas, North and South. So it came as a meeting with Tony Mills, really, with the Battle God thing. And
there you go.
I have to say, it was a moment, really. I said, mate, you're such an inspiration. He says, I'm an inspiration. He says, I've been following you for fucking years, you bastard.
I suppose through sad things, great things can grow, right? And so you got your head right round, because is it difficult dealing with the label being in Australia and you're in UK? The time, I mean, obviously it's like now it's 8 o'clock at night. You're 11 o'clock in the morning there. Do you find that difficult dealing with those sort of issues?
No, the world is the world, and it's much smaller space with things like Skype and Zoom and stuff like that. You can talk to people along the way. To be honest, there isn't a lot of talking. I mean, once I've given the album over, there's nothing much I can do then. Yeah. So I leave it up to the labels to do what they do. They have got everything from me, apart from these 4 or 5 new tracks that we're working on for the vinyl, which is ongoing as we speak. We've done 2 of them. The rest is really them getting on with it, and I expect them to get on with it. I need them to concentrate, do the things, the record label-y things that they do, and keep doing stuff like that. So I don't really need to be much involved after I've given them the product. They've got to do their thing. So,
because I noticed that you did some of the art, the arrangement of the artwork on the album as well. Is that right?
Yes, I did. I did put it in place. I based it on artwork, and it was one photograph, which is me standing with my hand out with the smoke coming out of it. And then it was done by. Yeah, there's a full-length picture of that. It was done by a photographic artist in Sweden, a woman called Tally Savage. Well, her husband and her sister have got a remarkable, fantastic setup in Sweden where they She takes the photos. He enhances the artwork. And her sister has got a massive theatrical costume department that they provide for films and theatres and stuff like that. I've been there. It's like massive. Every costume you can think from the 1600s right through till now.
Wow.
And it's just incredible, through lines and lines and lines of clothes. And between the three of them, they can create this mystical thing. So she did these photos a way back. And I've always wanted to use it in something. Well, the colour, that sort of greeny, misty, backgroundy colour, and the imagery just worked for me on this. And so I took that, and then I started making the font and the text and stuff for it, and then putting the background in and laying it out and stuff like that. And it looked really cool. Well, Battle God gave me the option of having a digipack thing rather than a CD jewel case. It became like a fold-out, card thing.
So much, but it's so much nicer. It really is.
Yeah, I really like that. It's not cheap, but
it wouldn't be. Yeah,
it looks better. But then you have like I think it's 10 or 11 pages that you can do stuff with. And so I really fell for it, and it captured me, so I sort of went down that route and helped. Then the record label, obviously, they do their bit with assembling it and putting it out on the different pages and stuff like that. We made one mistake out of all of those pages where we left poor old Danny Needham, his name got left off the band list. So
no.
Yeah, the copy you've got now, if you look down the band members, he's not on it. So then we've had it reprinted.
He's not?
Yeah, we didn't notice either.
I didn't know it.
No, nobody noticed until it was too late. And he understands it wasn't done deliberately, but we just have I didn't notice it. Scott didn't notice it. Dark Star never noticed it. Battle God never noticed it. Danny's called me up and said, I'm not on the track list. I went,
oh, no.
Holy crap, I have no idea how that was. So anyway, that's been reprinted. So the next version that comes out will have his name on it.
I'll make sure I make a note in my Discord because it's not on there.
Yeah, he got some words in the thank you list. He's in there, but not on the band. What's got it? The other thing is the artwork's been updated a little bit. We've got, in fact, the Dark Star version has got different artwork on the back to the Battle God European one.
I read that this morning.
Yeah, it's things for fans to collect. There are a few people who've got both copies, just for the differences and stuff like that. But yeah, the artwork was great, and I really am very pleased with what they did.
Yeah, I think it has that brooding feel the album has. It really does. It's nice and smouldering. I think it's really cool. So you talked about IRS earlier, with obviously the issues that you had with IRS, with Sabbath and the reissue, the issues of the albums. Because as a collector, I left my copy of both Tia and Headless Cross in the UK, and me trying to find one, it's taken me. I still haven't got a copy on vinyl, right? And it's just horrendous, the silly prices that they are putting them out there for. I wish it was going for you. You were getting the money for them, but clearly it's just second-hand records, right? But the new IRS label, are they going to reissue? I have heard you're reissuing them. Is that correct?
It's nothing to do with me, I'm afraid. I don't have the rights to those albums at all. Tony Iommi owns the rights to all of those albums, apart from the Eternal Idiot that we don't. That's owned by somebody else. But the Headless Cross through to Forbidden, that Tony Iommi owns those. You're as a musician, you don't get paid unless the thing's been sold. So I don't get a penny of royalties from Black Sabbath at all, because the records are not on sale. So they have to reissue it and get it back on sale for anybody to get anything out of it. It sort of went dead, as it usually does with Sabbath. You don't hear from them for years. And then another chance meeting when Jeff Nichols died, I met Tony Iommi at Jeff's funeral thingy. And he said, I've got loads of stuff, to play. It would be great if we could do something and add it to like the remixes of the Tony Martin era. And I went, I was just like, wow, that came out of the blue. And so I said, mate, I'm up for it. If you want to do something, just let me know. I mean, fucking hell, it's a great thing. Yeah. So then the phone went dead again. Then 3 years later, he called me and said, do you want to come over? And I said, yeah, I'd love to, mate. So I went over his house and he said, we can't do it. Fucking hell.
Oh, no.
What? He said, we can't release anything new under the Black Sabbath name. There's an agreement that they've got with Sharon and Ozzy and everybody that no new music can have the Sabbath title on it. And of course, Headless Cross and Tear and stuff has got the Black Sabbath name on it. Yeah. So I said, okay, well, that puts a kibosh. He said, but we're still going to re-release it. And then this year, a few months ago, I got a call from Tony Iommi's manager, and it says, okay, we've got a record deal for this now. Yeah, okay, that's cool. He said, so it is going to be released this year. He didn't give me a date, so I still don't know when that is. I await, as you do. I give my copies away thinking I'd get more. And so, 15 years later, I haven't even got any copies of it myself. No. So,
yeah, it's my white whale. I really need it badly. I can't wait for it to come back out again.
Yeah, well, they're going to remix, or they have remixed Forbidden, but I'm not sure about the rest of it. I think it's pretty much as is. I think they're going to enhance Headless Cross and Tear just to get frequencies back a bit more. But yeah, I await like you do. I have no control over it, I'm afraid.
Yeah. So with the album out, are you getting good results around the world, like sales wise and feedback?
Yeah. Oh, it's been fantastic. I mean, we never know, right? When we write songs as musicians, we don't know if it's going to be a hit. I mean, if everybody knew, we'd all be bleeding doing it, wouldn't we?
Yeah, that's right.
We just don't know. So you do what you end up doing is the best you think you can do, and then hope that like everybody else sort of gets the vibe and gets on board. So I do happen to think it was a bit of the right album at the right time, because like after the COVID thing, everybody was gagging to get rocking again. And this one was the first one out this year, kind of January. So it was timing was something to do with it, but also, that whole thing of me being away for quite a while. I mean, it's been 16 years last time I released anything. So people, thought I died or something. And, no, I'm still here. Yeah. I've been stuck in the studio for the past 25 years, as I said, but
creating.
Yes, it's been getting great reviews. I'm thankful for that. I love that. And, I have to thank everybody, really. Even you guys. I mean, thank you for being interested. We need you guys to let everybody know what we're doing. So thank you for doing your part. And then, the fans, I mean, they invite us into their homes and their cars and their headphones on the way to work and stuff. So we become part of their daily story, I love that. I mean, that's why we do it. We like being part of people's lives and stuff. So the fans have a great part to play in it, and they become part of the story. So it's been brilliant so far. Nothing really bad said about it. There's been like one or two who don't even like the genre. Well, okay, we don't listen to it then. But apart from that,
why did you do that? Yeah.
And then at the other end of the scale, I had one review was 9.8 out of 10. What's with the 0.2? Why couldn't you have just done the extra 0.2 and made it like 10 out of 10, or do 9 out of 10? 9.8 out of 10 is like...
Do you know what? He or she is trying to be different. Yeah, he's just trying to be different. He or she is just trying to be a little bit edgy and different, right?
It's like suspicious, him, don't you?
You're not giving 100%. So are you obviously? But you see, you have family with earlier on that you look after because of this COVID world we live in. Are you going to tour with the album? at all?
I would love to. I'd certainly love to. The problem I've got is, like I said, again, like I've been in the studio for the past 25 years. It's where my career took me. I became a singer-songwriter. And to that end, I've been doing vocals on all sorts of things. In fact, my voice now appears on 80 different albums and projects through the years.
Unbelievable.
And that's what I do. It's not a bad thing. It's just that it means I didn't concentrate on being on the road, which is why you don't see me out there. It's because I'm stuck in the studio doing this stuff. And that's the route I chose anyway. I don't have a band, which is one of my regrets. I wish I'd kept a band. I do miss going to rehearsals and bashing away at, some stuff. But I didn't. So now, if I go on the road, I have to hire the musicians.
Yeah, and then you've got to get the sound to sound the same as the album, and that's tricky. Well,
not just that, you have to start from scratch. First, you have to find out if they're available. If they're not available, you have to find somebody else. And then once you assembled the guys, then you have to rehearse it right from the beginning, and take that right up to a point where you can build a show. And then you have to advertise it, which needs 6 months in advance. So with COVID going on, we haven't been able to plan anything anyway, or get together really with anybody. So that's kind of put the kibosh on that, certainly for this year. So like we've already started writing Thorns 2. So, sort of thinking, well, maybe what if we did another album and then like two albums together, like later on. Or something. I don't know. It's just for me. For me, it's such a massive thing to get on the road from scratch. Hire the musicians, get it rehearsed, then get it advertised. It's such a big chunk of the year that it's difficult to do. Like now with a band like Sabbath, it's a huge machine. I mean, it's monstrous and it's all in place. Everything's there. So they can just switch it on, switch it off whenever needed. They've got all the things set up, so they can just do it. But for me, I've got to actually put it together first and then get it out there. So it'll be along the way. I'm really, really hoping that I can get it out there. So I want to. I mean, I'd love to get back out there again.
Have you ever toured Australia? I don't know if you have.
Yeah,
have you?
I've been there. I mean, my wife's father was from Melbourne. And we went there 3 years ago to retrace some of the family roots.
Oh, nice.
And it was very cool. In fact, we started off up north, and then we hired a camper van and we drove down the coast.
We've done that, yeah.
Yeah, have you done that? Well, fab. I mean, we just had a great time, and we were there for a different reason, obviously. We were tracing the family to see what we could find, and actually, he was born there in 1923 or something like that, and the house is still there, believe it or not. In where is it? I can't remember. Part of Melbourne territory there. Not Regent. Well, I can't remember what it's called. Anyway. We were walking up the street, and there was like these old houses, and they were kind of tin roof like affairs, sort of to get the single story, those things.
Colonial buildings, yeah.
Yeah, and I was walking up the street, and then there was a massive hotel. On one side there's a factory, and on the other side was this massive hotel. I said, "Oh man, I think the house is gone." So we're walking up the street, and it was the last one before the hotel. So, wow, that was cool. We took loads of photos and sort of, did our thing.
Yeah, it is an amazing country that way. And I think if you do get a chance to come here and tour, I think you'll find the audience is pretty good out here, actually.
Yeah, it's all on the East Coast right now. I don't think there's much in Perth, or is there much in Perth?
No. There isn't. I mean, it's a very long trip. It's cost me more to fly to Perth than just to Fiji from here. It's a silly trip because we're in Canberra, which is the capital right there in the middle of the coast, and you're going to fly for. So now Perth has its places. The big bands play Perth, like your Maidens, your Sabbath, But the small, like if you're just doing a small tour, you'd want to come down the East Coast,
I mean, you could fly into Perth and then on to.
It's pretty. You could do Uluru, and I mean, you could do some holiday destination stuff in there as well.
Yeah. So there's some friends
Sure.
over there, actually, a band called Lord.
Lord, I love Lord. Yeah.
And there was a suggestion that they could be the band, and I could just do like my bit. But you need Scott really, and I would love to have Danny with me. So it's a political thing. Band politics is one of the worst.
Yeah. I mean, I saw Venom came out a couple of years ago, and I mean, it was one of my lifetime achievements to see Venom very close. We got this venue in Canberra called The Basement, literally 1,000 people packed into one small, dirty, dark, dank basement that plays rock and roll. Right. And having them just a few feet away from me was like, oh my God, So we have some great venues here. Yeah.
Indeed. I am aware of the possibility. So by all means, it's in mind. It's certainly in mind.
Brilliant.
I would love to do it.
Brilliant. I said I'm looking forward to seeing the new album, the vinyl release later in the year. I think your album was an absolute corker of an album. I really do.
Thank you very much. I'm really pleased with it, and I'd just like to thank everybody on the album. Magnus, Danny, even Dario Mollo put a solo on there for me from the Cage.
Yeah.
We got Greg Smith, who played with Alice Cooper and
I know. I was going to say Greg Smith. Man, everyone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who wants to call?
Everybody, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say it goes to show you the magnitude of your voice and your people, what people think of you, to get those kind of people on your album. It's not easy to get those kind of people in to do things.
They are people that I know of, though. I mean, either I've worked with them before or some kind of connection.
Oh, okay.
Like Pamela, they weren't strangers to me. They were all people that I sort of knew, which was great for them to do that. And my thanks go out to them. In this business, there's not much in it these days for people, so that they do it for the love of doing it, and that's just spectacular to me. Just to have that sort of talent alongside you. I did some stuff myself, as you said, like some guitars and drums and bits and pieces. On the whole, thank you. It's I do appreciate your kind words. It's a great album. I really like it. So as a Tony Martin album, it's the best one I've done so far, I think.
Look, I'd stand by that, actually. I'd say that. I think, and I said it at the beginning of the interview, I think it sits with Headless Cross for me. And that's a big ball, for me, because I hold Headless Cross up here. So that sitting next to it, I easily put on Headless Cross and that and go, this is fun.
Yeah. No, it's great. Thank you. Well, I hope it's a good omen. I mean, I'd like to spread the word, and if we're going to try and get another Thorns album out, not that it'll be called Thorns next time, but the same ilk with Scott playing guitar. I think you're going to hear more of Scott. He's got other projects going on. He's relatively unknown, but he's so prolific. I think and he's such a humble sort of guy, excited, keen to do stuff and be involved. He's just great. So look out for Scott. He's a really nice guy.
I was. I mean, I'm a frustrated guitarist, bass player myself. Not never to the level of anyone, but plonk away a bit every now and again. And then you hear things like Scott, and you go, Jesus, where does that come from? And I googled him, and
it's just that, he's played. His favourite thing is Pantera, and so he does a lot of Pantera type stuff. But he's just so willing to be involved and letting you change stuff to what you need. And this is what I was saying earlier on about, the music has to come first for me. So it was important that Scott sort of came along at this time, because I wouldn't have been able to do these songs, unless I'd found a vehicle for my voice to work on. And it just so happened that this was the one, a complete accident, but it was just so happened that it sort of really worked with the voice that I've got. So, it's a curse, but it's also brilliant when it works. And this time,
and it worked. It's alchemy, but it worked. Yeah, and I think that finding Scott was a real boon, and not everyone on the album, Pamela, everyone, but it's just
Wouldn't you? If I was like 40 years, I'm 65 now, 66 in April, and so wouldn't it have been great when you was 20 to find somebody like Scott, so that you could build a career? We haven't, and I can't, and I'm. I can't travel back in time, but if that's the sort of thing you think, oh fucking hell, why weren't you around 40 years ago or something? But this is what it is, and you take the advantage when you can in the music business. You
do. It's just fickle, and yeah.
So I'm at the end-ish of my career, 65. You can get another 10 years out of it, maybe. But Scott is still young enough to be doing stuff, So I'm sure you'll hear more from him along the way.
But you're a musician. You don't have to sing everything. You could do an instrumental album and you still record.
I could do something. There's a point where it becomes a bit Spinal Tap if you start doing
Oh, fair enough.
Where you're not supposed to belong. But
fair enough.
Yeah, there's something to be said for going out when your head's high.
Yeah, honestly, if you've got a few more albums like Thorns in You, then go for it, because that's great stuff.
Yes. Well, thank you. Thanks
for chatting.
I have to run now, and
no, you carry on and enjoy the rest of your day.
When do you think this will come out?
I don't know. I'm going to send this video to whoever does the editing, and they'll go from there. I would say probably in the next week or so. Yeah, probably next week.
Well, just let me know, and I'll try and link it up to the socials and stuff like that.
Brilliant, and we'll do the same on our end as well.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, it's been a bit of a delay getting in hooked up, but
no. I had COVID last week anyway, so it'll be no good for me anyway. I was sick last week, so.
Right, mate. Right. Well, look after yourself and keep rocking. And thanks.
Yeah, and thank you for doing my first interview. I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome, bud. See you later.
Bye, mate.
Ciao.
Every year, one thing is always predictable. Postage costs go up. Stamps.com gives you crazy discounts of up to 89% off USPS and UPS services, so your business will barely notice the change. Stamps.com has been indispensable for over 1 million businesses just like yours. It's like your own personal post office. No lines, no traffic, no waiting. Sign up with promo code PROGRAM for a 4-week trial plus free postage and a free digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts. That's Stamps.com, code PROGRAM.